You may drive around the gates at a railroad crossing. A. When the train has passed. B. Under no circumstances. C. When the lights have stopped flashing. D. When other drivers drive around the gates. B. Under no circumstances. You are required to stop at all railroad crossings when signals warn of an approaching train. These signals may include flashing red lights, a lowered crossing gate, a flagger signaling, or a train's audible signal of warning. Do not attempt to go around a lowered gate. To avoid colliding with the car in front of you, you should A. Watch for hazards ahead. B. Watch for brake lights ahead. C. Use the 4-second rule. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. To avoid rear-end collisions, it is helpful to look for brake lights and other hazards in the traffic ahead of your vehicle. It is recommended that you maintain a following distance of 4 seconds when driving under ideal conditions. What does a traffic signal displaying a solid red arrow mean? A. Stop and proceed when it is safe to do so. B. Stop and do not turn in the direction indicated by the arrow until the arrow turns green. C. Turn slowly in the direction indicated by the arrow. D. None of the above. Under Alaskan law, seat belts are required to be used. A. Only by children under the age of 16. B. Only by a person riding in the front seat of a vehicle. C. By everyone in a moving vehicle at all times. D. Only when traveling at speeds above 50 miles per hour. C. By everyone in a moving vehicle at all times. Every person in a motor vehicle is required by law to use a safety belt, including the driver. The driver is responsible for the use of safety belts by all passengers under the age of 16.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
This sign means A. Watch for drunk drivers. B. Curves ahead. C. Slippery when wet. D. Apply your brakes quickly. C. Slippery when wet. This sign warns that the road is slippery when wet. This road sign means A. Bicycle crossing. B. Stop only if other cars are approaching. C. Bicycle store. D. Soft shoulders. A. Bicycle crossing. This sign, with the arrow below, indicates the location of a bicycle crossing path. Drive with caution around this sign because bicycles likely regularly cross or ride beside traffic in the area. On each vehicle registered to the state, Alaska requires A. 2 license plates, one on the front and one on the back. B. 1 license plate on the back. C. No specified number of license plates. D. 1 license plate on the front. A. 2 license plates, one on the front and one on the back. A driver must have a license plate on both the front and rear of their vehicle. If possible, a white light should illuminate the rear license plate so the numbers are visible for at least 50 feet. Traffic signs and pavement markings. A. Must always be obeyed. B. Are merely suggestions. C. Must be followed only when there is other traffic. D. Must be followed only when a police officer is present. What color are pavement markings that separate traffic lanes moving in opposite direction? A. Yellow. B. White. C. Yellow and white. D. Yellow, white, and black. A. Yellow. Yellow lines are used in the center of the road to separate lanes of traffic moving in opposite directions. A red traffic signal light means that you must A. Stop at the stop line. B. Stop before entering any crosswalk. C. Stop before entering the intersection. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. A red traffic light means that you must stop before entering the intersection. You must at any stop line and before entering any crosswalk. You are driving when your power steering stops working. You should A. Honk your horn and turn off the ignition. B. Turn on your hazard lights and brace yourself. C. Work hard to steer, reduce your speed, drive to a safe area, and stop. D. Slam on your brakes. C. Work hard to steer, reduce your speed, drive to a safe area, and stop. If your power steering stops working, additional effort will be required to maintain steering control. Reduce your speed and pull off the roadway to stop in a safe area. While driving on a two-lane road without bicycle lanes, you encounter a bicyclist traveling in the same direction. What is the safest way to pass the bicyclist? A. Slow down and wait until there is no traffic approaching, then pass the bicyclist while leaving him or her sufficient space. B. Continue driving straight. It is the bicyclist's responsibility to get out of your way. C. Do not pass the bicyclist until you come to a traffic signal or stop sign. D. Honk at the bicyclist to let him or her know you are about to pass. A. Slow down and wait until there is no traffic approaching, then pass the bicyclist while leaving him or her sufficient space. You should pass a bicyclist the same way you would pass any other vehicle, but not so fast or close to them that you throw debris in their face or blow them around with the draft of air from your vehicle. Allow at least 3 feet of space between your side mirror and the bicyclist, or at least 5 feet on higher speed roads or when there is a group of bicyclists. Honking unnecessarily may startle riders and make them more likely to crash. A flashing yellow traffic signal means A. Slow down and proceed with caution. B. Continue ahead at your current speed. C. Stop. D. No left turn. A. Slow down and proceed with caution. When encountering a flashing yellow traffic signal at an intersection, reduce your speed and exercise caution. Yield to pedestrians and vehicles already within the intersection. If you drive past your desired destination while in heavy traffic on a city street, you should A. Stop where you are. B. Back up to where you should have stopped. C. Signal and make a U-turn. D. Drive around the block. D. Drive around the block. If you realize you've passed your destination while driving in heavy traffic on a city street, you should circle around the block. Never make a U-turn where it may disrupt traffic. Alcohol. A. Slows reflexes and reaction time. B. Puts you to sleep. C. Wakes you up. D. Improves your judgment. A. Slows reflexes and reaction time. Alcohol is a depressant drug that slows the activity of the brain and reduces the skills that you need for safe driving. Drinking alcohol results in slowed reaction time and impaired judgment. The road surface often becomes especially slippery during the first half hour of rain because A. Dust and oil on the road have not yet washed away. B. Tires have not yet absorbed the water. C. Water tends to pool the most at the beginning of a rainfall. D. It rains hardest during that time. To prevent hydroplaning, you should A. Ensure that your tires have good tread depth. B. Ensure that your tires are properly inflated. C. Reduce your speed when driving in the rain. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. To prevent hydroplaning, you should ensure that the tires on your vehicle have good tread depth and are inflated to the proper pressure. Reduce the speed of your vehicle when driving in the rain. Hydroplaning occurs most frequently at higher speeds. When parked facing downhill, the front wheels of your vehicle should be A. Turned toward the curb or shoulder. B. Pointed straight ahead. C. Aiming any direction. D. Turned away from the curb. A. Turned toward the curb or shoulder. When parked facing downhill, your front wheels should be turned toward the edge of the road. This way, if your brakes fail, your vehicle will roll away from traffic. A conviction of reckless driving will result in A. A $50 fine and 4 points on your driving record. B. A warning for the first occurrence, and a $50 fine for a second. C. Suspension of your driving privileges. D. Revocation of your driving privileges. D. Revocation of your driving privileges. Reckless driving is a willful disregard for the safety of persons and property. Conviction will result in license revocation. This road sign means A. The road ahead turns sharply right, then left. B. The road ahead turns sharply left, then right. C. The road ahead curves to the left. D. Construction ahead. A. The road ahead turns sharply right, then left. This sign indicates that the road ahead will turn sharply to the right and then to the left.